what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talk.
Hey guys, I am with John Cena. John, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Can you take me back when you was your childhood and you got the name of John Cena?
Sure. Let's go back in time to my childhood. I was born on April 23rd, 1977, in West Newbury, Massachusetts, to John and Carol Cena. My dad worked as a mechanic, and my mom was a school teacher. I was always a bit of a troublemaker as a kid, but I also loved sports, particularly wrestling. In fact, I started wrestling in high school and quickly developed a passion for it.
For your retirement plan, who you like to face for your one last one? Did you pick anybody yet?
I have a few ideas for my retirement match, but I haven't decided on a specific opponent yet. I want it to be someone who's worthy of facing me in my final match. Someone who's a legend in their own right. I'm thinking maybe The Rock or Triple H, but there are plenty of other great options out there. It's a tough decision, but I'm sure I'll figure it out.
All right, for you, when you was wrestling for WWW, had a real feud with somebody?
Yes, I've had many real feuds throughout my WWE career. Some of my most memorable rivalries were with The Undertaker, Triple H, and The Rock. Each one was a battle of wills and personalities, and they all had their own unique dynamics. I also had a long-standing feud with JBL that lasted for several years, and I had some great matches with Chris Jericho. But I'd say my most intense rivalry was with The Miz, who I faced in a series of brutal matches. It was a real test of our skills, and I have a lot of respect for him.
For you, you made a lot of friends in your wrestling career, but you didn't make no enemies?
Well, I've made a lot of friends in my wrestling career, but I've also had my fair share of enemies. Some of the people I've faced in the ring have become friends after our matches, but there are others who I still have a lot of bad blood with. For example, I've never been on good terms with CM Punk or AJ Styles, and I've had some heated exchanges with The Rock and Triple H. But I've also had a lot of great relationships with other wrestlers, like The Undertaker, Ric Flair, and The Big Show.
Who do you want to face one last time in your retirement at WrestleMania?
Yeah. That's a tough question. I've had so many great feuds and rivalries throughout my career, and there are many people I'd love to face one last time. But if I had to pick one person, I'd probably say The Rock. We've had some epic battles in the past, and I think it would be a fitting way to end my career. Plus, The Rock is one of the biggest stars in wrestling, and it would be a huge event for the fans. So, if I could pick one person to face in my retirement match, it would be The Rock.
For you, it wasn't like you wanted to turn heel one last time for your one final time before your retirement?
It's true that I've never turned heel in my career, but I've always been open to the idea of doing it for my final match. It would be a way to go out with a bang, and it would certainly be an interesting twist. Plus, it would give me a chance to explore a different side of my character and show the fans something they've never seen from me before. So, if I were to turn heel for my retirement match, it would definitely be an exciting way to end my career. Honestly, I'm not sure what I want to do after I retire. I still love wrestling, and I still have the passion for it, but I'm also ready to move on to other things. I've been doing this for a long time, and I think it's time for me to explore other opportunities. Maybe I'll do some acting, or maybe I'll start a business. But whatever I do, I want it to be something that makes me happy and keeps me busy. So, for now, I'm just taking things one day at a time and seeing what the future holds.
I don't mean to be rude for you, but when you was in your prime, what you think about The Rock in his prime?
The Rock was one of the biggest stars in wrestling during my prime, and I always respected his skills and charisma. He was a great performer and a huge draw for the fans. I remember watching him in the early 2000s and thinking, this guy is going to be a legend. And he certainly proved me right. He had a way of connecting with the audience and making them believe in his character. I was always impressed by his ability to get the crowd to cheer or boo him at will. So, yeah, I had a lot of respect for The Rock in his prime.
If I may, for you, what do you thought about Hulk Hogan in the 80s, 90s?
Hulk Hogan was a huge star in the 80s and 90s, and he's one of the most iconic wrestlers of all time. He was a larger-than-life figure with a larger-than-life personality, and he was a huge draw for the fans. I remember watching him on TV and being amazed by his charisma and his ability to get the crowd to cheer him on. He was a true hero to many people, and he was a pioneer in the industry. So, yeah, I have a lot of respect for Hulk Hogan and his legacy.
Can you take me back when you fight with Ted DiBiase, JR?
Why would you want to go back to that night? That was a pretty brutal match. It was a pretty even match, but I ended up winning in the end. I remember it being pretty intense, but I was in my element.
Well, do you remember what Ted DiBiase said to you?
Yeah, I'll never forget it. He said, "You're a joke, Cena. You're just a lucky son of a gun who's been handed everything."
Was that a reference to your father?
Yeah, it was. He knew just what to say to get under my skin.
Why did you break up with your girlfriend?
I mean, we just didn't really connect on a deeper level. I guess we were just too different, and I didn't see us going anywhere.
No, I mean, why did you break up with Nikki Bella?
Oh, that. We had a lot of ups and downs in our relationship, and it was just too much for both of us to handle. We were constantly on different pages and couldn't seem to find common ground. It was a tough decision, but ultimately we decided it was best for both of us to go our separate ways.
What was your favorite show together, if you don't mind to share?
That's a tough one. We had a lot of great times together, but I'd have to say my favorite show was probably our trip to Paris. We spent a whole week exploring the city and just having a blast. We saw all the sights, ate the best food, and just enjoyed each other's company. It was an unforgettable experience and one that I'll always cherish.
Can you take me back when you fight Chris Jericho before how join AEW?
Of course. I can take you back to when I faced off against Chris Jericho in the main event of WrestleMania 22. It was a great match, and I'm sure you'll enjoy reliving the excitement.
Take me back when you fight with Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase.
Sure thing. I'll take you back to the night when I faced off against Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. at the No Way Out pay-per-view in 2008. It was a triple threat match, and it was a wild ride. Get ready for some adrenaline-pumping action.
Take me back when you fight Bray Wyatt, M-Wrestle.
Absolutely. Let's go back to WrestleMania 30. It was the biggest event of the year, and the main event was my match against Bray Wyatt. The stakes were high, and the crowd was on the edge of their seats. Are you ready to relive the intensity of...
Take me to the SummerSlam when you faced off against Roman Reigns.
Sure thing. Let's go back to SummerSlam 2014, where I faced off against Roman Reigns. It was a grueling match with plenty of high-flying moves and hard-hitting action. It was one of the most talked-about matches of the year. Are you ready to...
Yes. Take me to when you beat AJ Styles at SummerSlam 2016.
You got it. Let's go back to SummerSlam 2016, when I beat AJ Styles in our epic encounter. It was a back-and-forth battle with plenty of twists and turns. I had to fight tooth and nail to come out on top. Are you ready? Great. Here we go. We're stepping into the ring, and the crowd is going wild. The two of us are facing off for the WWE Championship. It's an intense match with high stakes. You can feel the tension in the air as we exchange blows. I'm doing everything I can to gain the upper hand, but AJ is not going to make it easy for me.
Now take me to when you face off against The Rock and Stone Cold at WrestleMania.
Of course. Let's go back to WrestleMania 28, when I faced off against The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in a triple threat match. It was a historic night with three of the biggest names in wrestling in the same ring. The crowd was on their feet, and the energy was electric. Are you ready to relive this iconic moment? Great. Here we go. We're stepping into the ring, and the crowd is roaring. The three of us are facing off, and it's a race to see who can get the upper hand. We're trading blows and throwing each other around like rag dolls. It's a wild ride, but one thing is clear. This match is going to be unforgettable.
Can you take me back when you faced Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania?
Of course. I remember that match like it was yesterday. It was a hard-fought battle, but I managed to come out on top. Brock Lesnar was one of the toughest opponents I've ever faced.
Take me back when you fight with Edge, a WWE champion.
Yes, I can take you back to that match. It was a classic confrontation between two of the greatest wrestlers in WWE history. The crowd was on their feet for every...
Can you take me back to the moment when you returned from his injury to fight John Bradshaw Layfield?
Sure, I can take you back to that moment. I had been out for several months due to a serious injury, and it was an emotional moment when I came back. The crowd was on their feet, and the energy in the arena was electric. It was like I was back in my prime, and I couldn't wait to get back in the ring.
Can you take me back when you fight the Great Khali?
Of course, I'll take you back to when I faced the Great Khali in a steel cage match at Backlash 2007. I was on top of the world back then, but Khali was a formidable opponent. The match was brutal and intense, with both of us fighting tooth and nail. In the end, I was able to use my speed and agility to avoid his attacks and hit him with a big FU, sealing the victory. It was a close call, but I'm proud of what I accomplished that night.
How did it feel when you faced off Eric Bischoff?
It was a tense moment, to say the least. Eric Bischoff was a prominent figure in the wrestling industry and had been the general manager of WWE for many years. We had our differences and often clashed, but there was a mutual respect between us. When we faced off, it was a chance for us to finally settle our differences and see who was truly the top dog. I was determined to prove myself and show that I was the best, while Bischoff was equally determined to show that he was still the boss. It was a fierce battle, but in the end, I emerged victorious.
How do you feel about your promo before your match with JBL?
The promo before my match with JBL was a big moment for me. It was a chance to showcase my skills and to show that I was the real deal. I was confident and brash, and I didn't hold back any punches. I let JBL know that I was coming for him and that I was going to take him down. The promo was a hit with the crowd, and it helped to build up the anticipation for our match.
Did you like working with Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle was a legendary wrestler and a true professional. I had the pleasure of working with him on several occasions, and I have nothing but respect for him. He was an excellent performer and a great mentor. He always brought his A game, and he was always willing to help me improve my skills.
How did you feel about the rivalry between you and CM Punk?
The rivalry between me and CM Punk was one of the most intense and memorable rivalries in wrestling history. We had a heated back and forth, with each of us trying to prove that we were the best. We had several matches and feuds, and it was always an intense battle. We had different styles and personalities, which added to the drama. It was a clash of ideologies.
How did it feel to face Rey Mysterio at SummerSlam 2009?
Facing Rey Mysterio at SummerSlam 2009 was a special moment for me. Rey was a legend in the industry, and he had a lot of experience and skill. I had a lot of respect for him, and I knew it was going to be a tough match. We had a back-and-forth battle, with both of us using our agility and speed to our advantage. It was a fast-paced match, with a lot of high-flying and exciting moves. In the end, I was able to come out on top and win the match. It was a memorable moment for me, and I was proud to be able to face off against such an accomplished opponent.
What do you think of Daniel Bryan?
Daniel Bryan is a great wrestler and a true fan favorite. He has a unique style and a lot of talent. He's known for his technical ability and his ability to tell a story in the ring. He's also a great worker, and he's always willing to put in the effort to make sure the match is entertaining. I have a lot of respect for him, and I think he's a great addition to the WWE roster.
What do you think of the Shield?
The Shield is a great faction and a force to be reckoned with. They have a powerful and intimidating presence in the ring, and they have the ability to dominate any opponent. They have a strong bond and a strong sense of unity, and they are always ready to defend each other and protect their interests. They are a force.
Okay. How many times have you won the WrestleMania Championship? This is the last question of the day, I think.
I've won the WWE Championship a total of 16 times. I'm the second most decorated champion in WWE history after Ric Flair. I'm also the only person to have held both the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championships at the same time. I'm very proud of my accomplishments, and I'm always looking for ways to add to my legacy.
Who is your favorite wrestling match and why?
My favorite wrestling match would have to be my match against The Rock at WrestleMania 28. It was such a special moment for me, and it was the perfect way to cap off our rivalry. I was so nervous going into the match, but once the bell rang, all of that anxiety disappeared. The crowd was electric, and the match was so intense. It was just an incredible feeling to be out there, competing against the greatest of all time.
Why do you use the word never give up and why it's your catchphrase?
Never give up is my catchphrase because it's a reminder to always keep fighting for what you believe in. I've been through a lot of challenges in my life, and I've never given up on my dreams. I want people to know that they can do the same. It's a message of hope and perseverance, and I hope that it inspires people to know.
Is that true you got banned from WWE for 28 days?
Yes, that's true. I was suspended from WWE for 28 days in 2015 after I made some controversial comments about the company. I was unhappy with my creative direction, and I made some comments that were deemed inappropriate. I was suspended for a month, but I took that time to reflect on my actions, and I learned from my mistakes. I've since made a comeback, and I'm now back in the good graces of WWE.
You're going to give that house what they really want? A very realistic match?
Yes, I did say that. I was referring to the fact that the fans were getting tired of my Super Cena persona, and they wanted to see a more realistic side of me. I wanted to give them a match that was more grounded in reality, and I felt like that was the best way to do it.
What is the best match in WWE in your opinion?
That's a tough question. There are so many great matches in WWE history, but I think the best one would have to be The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. It was a classic match between two legends, and it had everything you could ask for in a wrestling match. The intensity, the emotion, the drama. It was just a perfect match.
Is that true? You said the word, you'll see 5 moves that I never use, and did that same match at that match against the Nexus?
Yes, that's correct. I was facing the Nexus, and I knew I had to come up with something special to beat them. I knew they would be expecting me to use my usual moves, so I decided to surprise them and use some new ones. I did 5 new moves that I had never used before, and it caught them off guard. It was a risky move, but it paid off, and I was able to win the match.
Is that true? You said the word, you're fired at some of your opponents?
Yes, I've definitely said that before. It's a line I like to use when I'm in a heated rivalry with an opponent. It's a way to show that I'm not afraid of them, and that I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. It's also a way to get under their skin and make them angry, which is always a good thing in a wrestling match.
Are you ready for GTA 6 to come out whenever it does?
Of course I am. It's going to be an absolute game changer. I'm so excited to see what Rockstar has in store for us. It's been too long since we had a new installment of this.
Are you going to buy it?
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of the Grand Theft Auto franchise, so it's a no-brainer. I'll be pre-ordering the game as soon as...
Are you going to buy it for PS5 or Xbox or PC?
Well, I'm not sure yet. I'm leaning towards the PS5. The exclusive content is pretty tempting. But I'm also a big PC gamer, so I might end up getting it for that too.
Thanks for coming, John Cena. You did a good job. And ask questions. Oh, yeah, my last question. How do you feel when your face...
No problem. It's always a pleasure to chat with fans. As for your question, I can't deny that it's always a bit awkward when I run into Batista. He's one of the few people who can make me feel like a kid again. He's such a larger-than-life figure, and I always feel a bit starstruck when I see him.
Thanks for coming. I am Donald Trump. This is John Cena, and I see you when I do any next interview. I have no idea who I'm going to interview next. Until next time, peace.